What's up, everyone? All right. Welcome, welcome. I hope all of you USA folks had a great Thanksgiving. And welcome to everybody else from around the globe. We got Anthony in Hong Kong. Rusty, as always, from Jersey. What's up? Glenn B, echoing the Thanksgiving wishes. Right on. Good to see you. Joseph, what's up? Bob Powers from Denver. Welcome. Steve-O, what's up? I always call you Steve-O because that's what I see. Steve, what's up, everybody? James from Canada, excellent. Stay warm. What's going on? Duke from Missouri, excellent. And Danny Ryan from Arkansas. Igor from Mexico City. All right, everybody, welcome. Hey, Jay, what's up? Great to see you. Jim Gregory, good to see you. Elwin from Albuquerque. All right, excellent. And what's up? Nikki the dog's in the house. Luke from Canada. And Elias, of course. What's going on? Welcome, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Jody One, of course. Awesome. We're doing a little rhythm styles workshop. Just a sort of a cross section of a few different genres. A few things, hopefully, that can inspire and get you experimenting with some certain stuff. Right? Zane, what's up? Good day. Neil from Australia. All right. Good to see everybody. For those of you joining for the first time who do not know, maybe that I did make a tab handout for tonight's lesson. So expand the description below this video and you'll see a link to the tabs. All right. And we'll kind of go through these exercises tonight. And as always, nothing too crazy, nothing too difficult. Just trying to show you guys some different things each and every week and hopefully inspire and get you experimenting. All right. Dieselman from Ireland. What's up? Good to see you. Excellent. Gerald from Texas, San Antonio. All right. Welcome, welcome. Excellent, everybody. So what's up? Hoopy 304. All right. West Virginia in the house. And Felipe from Colombia. All right. Welcome. All right. So we'll kick it off here. Exercise 1 is a strummer. Okay. And we usually get some sort of a pop rock kind of strumming feel going in this, in our guitar styles workshops. Open chords in this one, starting with open D, right? And let's have a look at the subdivisions on the staff part of the, where the notation is on top of the tab that gives you the clue as to what the rhythm is. What's up, Strum and Susan? Welcome, welcome. It's glad you're here. All right. And sometimes you'll get the notation that tells you whether it's a downstroke or upstroke. And in this case, we've done that as well. Okay. All right. We got an electric. Susan, congrats on the electric. That's awesome. Cool, cool. All right. And so these downstrokes and upstrokes are useful to know because a lot of times they're tied to the rhythm, right? We usually get going in a down-up motion and we stay in time with that motion. And we're not always strumming down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up all the time. There's usually a texture involved with the strum pattern. So sometimes we're hitting the strings and sometimes we're just making that motion to stay in time, right? And so if you have a look at the first cluster of tied notes, right? We've got an 8th note and then 2 16th notes. So that's a down and then a down up. So if you think about 1, 2, 3, 4, and you subdivide each of those into 4 equal subdivisions, you get 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, or down, up, 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 right? So what's happening is that we're not strumming all 4 of those subdivisions. We're strumming the first one, and then we're coming in on the last 2, okay? And we're letting that first one ring out over the next one, okay? So that's going to translate into a down, down, up. What's up, HH from Ottawa? Welcome. Now, if we put those through here, if we just look at, like, don't look at the chord progression yet. Let's just try and get this strum pattern down. When you put it together, it's like this: 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Okay, so I'm keeping this motion steady. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1 E and 2 E and. But I'm not striking all the strings each time, right? I'm on that first downstroke. On the next upstroke, I'm just doing the upstroke without hitting the strings. And then on the next down up, I'm hitting it. And that leads into the next cluster, which is a down, upstroke with no strum, down, up. So you get. Okay. Now, it's really important to go slow with this stuff, because when you start to speed it up, okay, that's what we're going for. That's a little more of the tempo of what we're thinking. Now, what happens is we add a chord change in on the third beat. Actually, halfway through that third beat, we switch to an A7. Okay? Open A string, second fret of the D, open G string, second fret of the B string, open high E string. All right, so when I do that, I'm going to go really slow. Let's see. One more time. Okay, that's what we're going for. We go a little bit faster. Okay, so now I'm starting to get into what we got going on in the rest of this 4-bar progression, which is we've got the D chord with a move to the A7, back to the D, and then we're going to a G chord, and this is the one, third fret of the low string, second fret of the A, open D, open G string, third fret of the B, third fret of the high E string, okay, going to the A7. All right, that's it. You got it, Rusty. So. And what we've kind of got is this galloping sort of strum, which, we've talked about galloping before, a lot more in sort of the context of, kind of a rock thing. This is more of just a folk strum, right? But that gallop is basically strum an eighth note and then 2 16th notes at the end of it, leading into the next eighth note, right? Dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, da. That's where we're going. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. All right, so go slow with this one. But of course, if you can get this up nice and fast, that's what we're aiming for, right? Notice this, right? I'm keeping this going as loose, relaxed as I can, and locked with the time, okay? And that's what's going to make your timing nice and smooth. So really try and work on that nice and slow, right? And, a lot of times when you're first getting into this stuff, it's a lot to try and keep track of, okay, am I doing the strumming right? And then am I changing the chords right? So what you have to do is break it up into different things. So I would spend 5 minutes just on the strums, stay on one chord, and work on the strum nice and slow and burn in that strum, okay? Don't even worry about chords, right? Focus on the strum, making sure that you're doing that and staying in time. Then work on a chord change, okay? Now, this offbeat chord change is difficult, as Anthony has pointed out, because halfway through that third beat is when you're switching, all right? So the only way to get through these sort of difficult chord changes is to go really slow. And then just that first bar, loop that. Okay? So okay. Once you kind of get it into your brain, like really slow like that, and you get into your muscles really slow with that, with all that repetition, it makes it easier to start upping the tempo on it. So you don't want to go too fast too soon. You want to just sort of bump that tempo up as you go. All right. Good day, Craig from Melbourne. All right. He's here. Good to see you. Cheers, everybody. All right. Okay. So hopefully getting it off to a strumming start here. Yeah, as far as rhythm styles go, that's just a straight strum. You can use that in all sorts of genres, right? What's up, Chad? All right. Second exercise, I decided to kind of go indie rock a little, sort of don't really talk very much about that, but there's definitely some stylistic things that are interesting and well worth working on. And so I'll just play this riff and we'll talk about it a little bit. I think it goes something like this. Okay. That's sort of the riff of this song. And so let's talk about it a little bit. Okay. Because we're basically playing double stops here, which are two notes at the same time, strumming these. First one is the 10th fret of the B string and then the 9th fret of the high string. I've got two strums there, but then you can see that I'm adding the 12th fret on the high string and I'm not moving the B string. And then if I move it down 2 frets, same thing. And then going down to the 3rd fret of the B, 2nd fret of the high E string. Okay, so actually kind of simple when you slow it down a little bit. But what are we outlining here? So let's have a look. A and C sharp. So my guess is that that's going to be 2 notes from an A major chord, right? If you think about your chord shapes, A major triad up top here, you've got 2 of those notes, right? And then when you put your pinky down, you've got the 10th fret of the B, 12th fret of the high string. That's a power chord shape, root 5th. So that's still an A chord, right? But we've gone from outlining an A major, right, to just an A5, A power chord. And we do the same thing 2 frets down. So that's G major to G5 or a G power chord. And we move it down here, we've got the D major chord, right? You recognize that from a D major, just the top 2 notes, root, major 3rd. So if you're going to strum this song, maybe you have this chord progression that you worked on and you're writing a song, you're like, need to come up with a riff. Well, the chord progression goes A, G, D. Which is essentially all this is, but we've made a riff out of it, or he's made a riff out of it by finding some chord shapes up the neck and playing sort of a double stop melody kind of riff, right? Okay. And he does it really fast. If you're familiar with this song, I don't even know what the name of this song is, but it's a really popular indie rock song by a band called Vampire Weekend. And it's a really fast tempo song. So you got that's sort of the riff idea there. All right. But you can think about it 2 ways. You can look at this riff and go, what are the chords? And reduce it down. Or you've got this chord progression. You want to make it more interesting. You want to come up with some sort of an interesting guitar part. So you start fishing around for your different chord shapes up the neck, right? And hey, that's kind of cool. And it sort of does a little simple melody. And I move it down 2 frets to hit the G chord and then down here to get the D chord. That's simple, right? Makes sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Neil, I keep dropping my pick and it keeps turning in my fingers. How do you hold your pick? Any tips? is a common thing, okay? I still battle this, right? The thing that helped me a lot was getting these picks. You can see it has like sort of a ridges in there, sort of a graphic, and that like kind of nestles in your fingertips a little bit better. It tends not to do it as much. It still does it, especially when this wears down a little bit. But I would try to look for picks that have that little grip kind of thing in it. It's basically just notched out plastic that will sort of stick in your fingers a little bit more. So that really helped me. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's a funny thing. I mean, I still battle this, right? You know, dropping the pick or keeps, you know, turning in your fingers. What you want to do is, you know, try to apply enough pressure that you've got it in there solidly, right? I know a lot of times, sometimes you're barely gripping this pick to do stuff. And other times you're really digging into it, right? So some things you can practice are just basically, you know, like I said, take a couple minutes and just work on something really repetitive, but focus on keeping that pick like kind of locked down a little bit, okay? So that's another thing you can try is just trying to burn it in with some muscle memory with repetition on something really easy so you're not even worried about what's going on here, but just try to keep that locked in there. All right? But I find that these picks definitely help. And hopefully something else here. Picks that have rubber on them, the gray Dunlops have good texturing. They call them the cat's tongue picks. There you go. All right, so that might help. Check them out, hopefully. All right, Anthony McSee, great that riff picking up the P5 on beats 2 and 4. That's it, right? The power chords. There you go. We got some suggestions for picks. All right, hopefully that helps, Neil. But just know you're not alone. This is a very common ailment with all guitar players. We just got to fight through it and figure out what works for us, right? All right, exercise 3 is sort of the same idea as exercise 2, played in a different register, but the idea, the difference here is that the rhythm is different. So we're gonna have to parse out this rhythm, and there's a few more chord changes. This is a Pink song from a while ago, and I'll just play the riff here. Okay, that's the idea with this one. So, you know, once again, really simple sort of guitar riff, but let's have a look at the rhythm because it's different. So we've got like a set of 1 strum, then a set of 2 strums, and a set of 3 strums. What we're doing off the top is just hitting a quarter note. 1 E and a, right? Or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I only see 8th notes up there, okay? So, and that's the 1 flag on the notes. So we don't have to think in 16th notes, which is the 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a. We can just think of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So what I've got is quarter note on the first strum. So you're just letting that ring out for the first beat. And then on the second beat, it's an 8th note and a quarter note, which means that on that second beat, I'm strumming on the second beat and the end of 2, but I'm letting it ring out till the end of 3, right? Then on the end of 3, I'm hitting end of 3, 4, and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? Once again, what we got? The root note, A note, 7th fret of the D string, 6th fret of the G string. This is the A double stop for A major that we were playing in the previous example, down an octave. And in fact, we're adding the pinky in the next bar, 9th fret of the G string. So it's sort of the same riff with a different rhythm, right? Okay, so you repeat that a bunch of times, and then you've got outlining a B minor. If I just get the 9th fret of the D and 7th fret of the G, those come from the full B minor bar chord root 6, right? Just pulling 2 notes out of it. When I move that same shape down to the 2nd position, that's like it's out of an F sharp minor chord, right? And then that final bar is an E power chord. 2nd fret of the D, 4th fret of the G. So they could have went like they could have went and outlined an E major there, but instead chose to use the power chords, a little more neutral. So some pretty cool choices there. So again, same sort of idea, right? Double stops, pulling just a few notes out of a chord and making a little riff out of it, right? Is it Aerosmith's Pink? I'm not sure. I don't know Pink well enough to know that one. Maybe some elements of that, right? All right. How we doing? Okay. Exercise 4, getting into some country. All right. So we're leaving sort of the rock pop kind of indie rock thing. And so I'm just going to play this. We'll talk about it afterwards. This is a sort of a classic Johnny Cash kind of rhythm. Okay. Okay, so we played a little bit faster. That kind of thing, right? So it's sort of like that boom chick kind of thing with a root 5 motion, which is what we're doing with the root note, alternating with the 5th of the chord, right? So I'm playing out of an A power chord shape. Open A string, 2nd fret of the D and G. There you go. That's it, Duke 49. The chicka boom, right? And again, look at the rhythm up top. We've got 1/8 note and then 2 16th notes. So again, it's that galloping kind of thing. We're seeing a little bit of a theme tonight, right? And so I'm hitting that chord with a down up, right? I'm hitting the roots and the 5ths with a downstroke, and then hitting the power chord with a down up, okay? And I'm using some palm muting. So here we go with the palm muting again. Karate chopper down by the saddles of the bridge, just dampening the strings a little bit. If you don't do that, it kind of gets out of control. Different sound, right? You get more of that sort of train track kind of thing. Okay. All right. So want to have a little bit of palm muting. And again, it's that down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Alternating between the A, which is your root, and the low E string, which is the 5th. So you've got root 5, kind of what the base of it is, and then the higher part of the chord up top. All right, that's the A chord. 2nd bar goes up to B7. Now I'm only really strumming the lower strings, so I'll have to work with a little bit here. There you go, Duke 49, absolutely. All I have to really worry about are the A, D, and G strings here. Second fret of the A, first fret of the D, second fret of the G. Now you've got a fretted root and fifth, so you have to move that finger, right? See that? There you go. Absolutely. Numbra. Okay. Same idea with the palm muting. And then real country sort of half step bend up to G. Bend it down. And down and then back, right? And that takes us to the third bar, which brings us to the E. So you want to get an E chord here. What's up, James? Welcome. Now we're playing root, which is on the low E string, and this makes the fifth second fret of the A string. So it's sort of in reverse order where you have to pick. Okay, and then a little walk up. Coming up the A major scale. And then back up. All right, so just some little walk-ups there to make it more interesting. That bend, of course, classic country, right? You with me? All right. Suddenly I respect Johnny Cash a lot more than I did 5 minutes ago. I tell you what, yeah, you don't have to be into these different genres, right, to get something out of it. There's lots of really cool things to borrow and learn techniques and approaches from all different genres, even if you're not into it, right? So absolutely, this country thing is just, especially the Johnny Cash style, it's just sort of playing the blues a little bit differently, right? And it's really fun to play. So I highly recommend diving in and experimenting with this kind of stuff. What is that song? I don't think it's an actual, I kind of came up with it myself. It might be, it's sort of just Johnny Cash-esque. I think Folsom Prison or Walk the Line kind of has that. Well, I mean, so many Johnny Cash songs have that kind of groove, right? Yeah, I'm not sure it's either of those, but just a quick once through, please. Neil, yeah, one more time on that. Big River, could be one of those. Yeah. 2, 1. There it is. All right. Lots of fun to play. Again, go real slow with it. Take it a bar at a time if you need to. All right. Excellent. Exercise 5, R&B. Sort of some guitar ornamentations here a little bit. Rhythm approach in more of an R&B kind of style. All right. There you go, Chad. Absolutely. Chad says exploring guitar that is usually thought not interesting music usually results in a newfound respect for the skill. I find it time and time and time again. As you know, I teach a lot of songs on the Guitar Tricks site. I do song tutorials. I've been doing it for a long time. And I've taught a lot of music that I have not necessarily personally been into. But once I've learned it and taught it, I found it really cool and a whole new, like, kind of, oh, yeah, that was really cool what they did with that, right? Lots of different just ways to, use the guitar to be so musical. What's up, Ozman? Welcome, welcome. Excellent. Thanks for joining, everybody. Halfway point here, talking about this R&B riff. So I want to see if I can get this. Might take me a few tries to did something a little bit complicated. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Yes, country videos are very interesting, as are the TV jingles. Oh, please. We don't need to talk about the TV jingles, right? Oh, yeah, maybe we do. Green Acres, Addams Family, they're actually really fun to play, right? So check out Guitar Tricks. All right. Always love Cash. He made it seem a lot easier than it was. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we've got okay, so that's sort of the idea here. It's a 2-bar R&B phrase, R&B sort of riff. And there's a lot going on, a lot of movement, okay? So that was a little more sort of up to speed a little bit, kind of this tempo. We'll parse it out a little bit and start off again with the double stop. This time you're seeing the A major double stop in an even lower octave, okay? You got 5th fret of the low string, 4th fret of the A string, okay? And then playing the upper part of an A major root 6 bar chord, but just from the D string all the way up. And then cutting it off, right? So now a little bit of a riff here. So you want to start like you're kind of in this position, in the 5th position, okay? So it's natural that your ring finger is going to be the one sliding up here. 7th fret of the A string sliding up 2 frets to the 9th fret. Okay, and I play this with a little bit of a hammer on. It's not notated that way. You'll see barring down at the 7th fret of the D and G, and then adding the 9th fret of the D and keeping the 7th fret on the G on there. So you can just do that if you'd like. Okay. Or you can do a quick hammer on. What's up, Shane? You get it, catch it all on replay. We're about halfway through and we're on exercise 5 on the handout. Expand the description below and get to the handout for the tabs. All right, so put those little parts together. Okay. Now there's a slide down here. We're grabbing 6th fret of the D, 5th fret of the G, 4th fret of the B. And that's that A major triad shape. And just slotting it up 1 fret. And then grabbing the top part of that, which would be the A major bar chord, 5th fret of the top 2 strings, and cutting it off quickly again. So starting from the top. One more time. Okay, and then pretty much the same ornamentation after that. Okay, but the last one is going to go back to the 7th fret of the D and G. And then we repeat. Okay, so one more time through. Okay. So cool little R&B riff. You know what's going on there is just major chords, right? And sort of playing some ornamentations off of that. So always a good ornamentation sometimes just to get that sound is that fret below, sliding up. And like I said, you could do that quick hammer on to instead of picking just the 7th fret of the D and G to 9 and 7 on the D and G. You can hammer that on really like that. R&B style there, okay? A little bit different than the just, you know, which sometimes is the perfect guitar part, doing those little staccato strums, right? On the upper part of the chord. Sometimes you want to get a little more grooving. That's the idea. All right, so experiment. There we go. All right, let's see here. What you play while the front man is saying that his dog ran off, and don't forget to tip your waitresses. There you go. I like that. All right, blues riff time. Okay, so I don't think we've seen this kind of at a slow speed, maybe last week or a couple weeks ago. The idea with this particular riff in exercise 6 here is a little bit more up tempo. So let's play it a little bit. Whoa. Okay, so that's the idea with that. So let's have a look at what we're outlining. It's basically an E9 chord, but we're not playing the full chord. Okay, so this is the full E9 would be 7th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the D, and then the 7th fret of the top 3 strings. Add in the low E string. That's a bluesy, funky chord right there, right? And a classic blues move is to move those top 3 notes up 2 frets and back down. So if you play that really slow, that's what this exercise sounds like. And what you can do is add a little bit of crunch to this. Make it more into a blues kind of rock thing, or keep it clean and maybe a little bit slower. Of course, you got that shuffle. All right, so the trick to this is you're sliding up 2 frets. Okay, and it's not shown on the notation, but you're basically coming out of, you know, your home base is the 7th fret here. I use my ring finger for this. Okay. And we've got those palm muted root notes. Cool? You getting it? So in order to put this into like a 12-bar blues, right, we can sort of change the chords, right? You can use that chord shape for E. If we wanted to go to the 4 chord in a blues, that would be, what's the 4? Right there? A. Well, we can go up here and use the same shapes. Mess that up. Try it again. And for those of you with electrics out there, you can go all the way in. You can get the 5 chord up there, or maybe bring it down here. Okay, so you just follow the 12-bar blues and just move that up the neck, right? There's your E, your 4 chord would be the A up here, 5 chord would be 2 frets up from that, the B, or you could even do it down here, octave lower. I think it all kind of sounds good there. Luke is asking, just out of curiosity, what if we wanted to continue and then play on the open A string? That's it. That's what we're talking about. Now, of course, when we get to the 5 chord, the B, right? There's no open B. Oh, that's a little bit too high probably for what we want to do. So you see me grab it here. Right? Of course, your turnarounds, you can always add in that chromatic on the 5 chord, right? The 1 fret up and then down to the B, right? Or up here. All right, cool, cool. A little bit of a different blues riff there. All right, exercise 7. What's up, Kenneth? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming out. All right, so. All right, so this particular riff has got a lot of space in it, but really sort of textbook, funky kind of rhythm to work with here. That's the first chunk there. Now, what you'll notice is that this is just 1 bar. So we've got 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. First beat is a rest. So we're not coming into the second beat. So 1 E and a 2 E and a. That's what we're doing. 1 E and a 2 E and a. Now I got to get my strumming right. Okay, because when I come in, I'm taking that E9 that we talked about in the previous example. Now I'm playing the full chord, right? Once again, 7th fret of the A, 9th fret of the D, barring down on the 7th fret of the top 3 strings. I'm going to go 1 fret below that and slide up. Okay. So when I do that, it's on the second beat. It's right on the second beat of the bar. So that's going to be a downstroke, right? 2 E and a, right? But that slide takes the place of the upstroke. So I'm not going to strike the strings on the upstroke like that. And then once I'm on the E9, right, 1 fret up back to the 7th fret, it's a down up and then cut it off. So just practice that a bunch of times, okay? Okay. Now what you see is another quarter note rest right after that. So the third beat, there's nothing going on. But in the fourth beat, we have a 16th note rest and then an upstroke on the top of that chord. Okay. And this is a really common funk move. So I'm holding down the top 3 notes of the chord with my ring, and I'm going to stretch out with my pinky and grab the 9th fret of the high string. Okay. And then cut it off. And then another upstroke back on the 7th fret. Okay. So that's the part, right? So there's a lot of space. So it's helpful to work with a metronome or work with a drum groove and work on kind of getting comfortable so you can start to speed it up, and then it's going to be something like, Okay. Kind of simple, but kind of challenging, right? Because it's all about keeping in time, all about keeping your timing good. And again, this relaxed thing right here, right? I don't want to tense up, and that's what throws off timing. I want to keep this nice and relaxed. Notice I'm keeping it going. If you wanted to, you could mute strum all of this, right? To count it out. Right? Super fun to play this stuff. I know you don't have to necessarily be into funk to enjoy it and to get something out of it and to really help your rhythm guitar playing. Again, I've said it before many times, but if you get into, trying to do as much funk rhythm guitar as you can, it's going to help your timing, help your groove, help everything all around for whatever genre of music you want to play. Highly recommended. You with me? All right. By the way, 'tis the season. 'Tis the season. I don't know if you can read that, but getting there. We're officially a month away, right? All right. Exercise 8. Just usually do some sort of a arpeggiated kind of idea, and this sort of is sort of got a landslide kind of thing, but it's a little more straight ahead than the finger pick. And you can do this with finger picking if you'd like, but this exercise was actually sort of made more for just working on your picking arpeggiation, right? So I'm going to play through it once here. Okay, that's the idea there. So let's take it slow. First of all, look at the rhythm on the top notated bars. We've got eighth notes, right? So like basically 4 clusters of 2 notes each. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And so this is all really steady. You get into a groove. Okay. It's all evenly timed out. Okay. All right. So the arpeggiation pattern is a little bit challenging because you're sort of going up and down the strings a little bit. So let's see this. We've got a C chord, right? I'm going down on the A string, D string, and then I'm going to do an upstroke on the G string because I'm going to come back down to do a downstroke on the D string. Then I'm going to do an upstroke on the B string, upstroke on the G string as I come down, and then a downstroke on the D, and then back to an upstroke on the G. Okay, so to me, that's the most natural sort of way to handle with the pick. Okay, of course, with finger picking, it's a totally different exercise, but I encourage you to check it out, right? Ozman's got a question here. I'm having a hard time finding the rhythm count for songs when I played a song. It's either coming in too late or too early. I've tried tapping my foot, finding the count. How do you go about it? Well, that's a good start. I think the biggest thing you can do is slow it down. You got to slow it down and find where the 1, 2, 3, 4 is. Okay. Then you tap your foot with it. And then just try and get inside, if you're working with a song, let's say on Guitar Tricks, the thing that helps for me is to play along with the performance video, play along with the instructor, but slow it down, see if you can find where the count is, and then just try and mimic what the instructor is doing, okay? So rather than trying to play with the jam track, which wouldn't have any guitar in it, it's just like sort of the bass and drums. I think at first, until you start to get an instinct for just what the count is and what the rhythm is and how to kind of lock in with the track, it's really important just to try and mimic and play along with, say, the instructor, okay? So, and the way that you have to do that at first is just to slow it down and make sure that you're getting, you know, kind of playing along where the instructor's coming in and out, okay? And if you find you're still coming in too late or coming in too early or whatever it is, you know, slow it down a little bit more and really try to feel where that stuff is happening, okay? Cool. Hopefully that helps, Ozman. I mean, it's not an easy thing. It's pretty challenging, right? So you just got to keep trying to do it. You're looking to find the rhythm count for other songs. You've tried that. Yeah. If you have anything specific, I'm happy to try and help you out. Actually, if you're a member of Guitar Tricks, there's an Ask Mike forum. In the forum section, you can ask the instructors questions. And if you have specific things, we can kind of work with you through the forum. Or if you have something specific here, a specific song, I can maybe cover it next week. So just let me know. All right. And Trite76, jealous of the red ES335 on the back wall, if that's what it is. Unfortunately, no, it is not a Gibson. But it is sort of a hollow body, sort of Les Paul type guitar that actually is featured in Guitar Tricks, older Guitar Tricks videos. All right. Cool. But yeah, I would say the metronome's hard to use when you're trying to work out exactly what's happening with the timing. It's just really important to listen to the reference track. And, you know, it helps if someone's playing it on video for sure, that you can try to lock up with it and just slow it down. I think the biggest thing, just to get back to that and kind of put a button on it, is just to slow it down. Slow it down like as much as you can. All right, arpeggiated riff, back to it. Okay. And this pattern, this picking pattern, stays the same for the first 3 bars. So all we're doing is changing the chord. The second one, so this is a G add 11 over B. It's just basically a G chord with the C is still in it, right? And then A minor 7, right? And then there's a, oh yeah, there you go, Nicky the dog. That's it. That's the one. I can't even remember how to play it. Oh man. You know it. Anyway, 4th bar of this arpeggiated thing goes. Okay. This time it's an actual G chord that you're going to grab, and you're going to start with the B the B note on the A string 2nd fret, and then the G note, which is the root, and then still the same D, G, and B strings there. So as I'm going up the strings, I'm using downstrokes, and when I hit a note where I'm going to go back on the strings, that's when I'll throw in the upstroke, and that's sort of the method that I've been using all like on the previous picking pattern as well, right? You see, when you get to the G string, you're going to come back to the D string, so that's where I'll throw in the upstroke, okay? All right, a little bit of an arpeggiation example, of course, being used in plenty of genres. Thought I'd finish it up a little bit with putting away the pick and using some fingers. And how about a bossa nova type rhythm using some jazzy chords? And so what I've got is a C minor 7, 3rd position. So I'm sort of barring down on the 3rd fret, adding the 5th fret of the D, 4th fret of the B string. Okay. I'm going to use some plucks here. Now check out that rhythm, okay? This is sort of a bossa nova thing, okay? Where we've got some quarter notes and some eighth notes mixed up a little bit, but it's a very identifiable sort of groove a little bit. That's the first part, is you've got all of that happening on the beat. One. Except that second pluck, okay, is on an and. So let's go a little bit slower. Okay. So we've got that moving bass line again. This time from the C note, right? And then third fret of the low string. So we got the root fifth motion. Once you got that down on the first two bars, you're going to move that up to the eighth position and play the exact same rhythm, exact same shape, right? You're just up the frets to an F minor 7. Okay? So let me play those first two together, sort of all the way through. Okay. Then we got some tricky chord changes here. D minor 7 flat 5, sort of a dissonant jazzy sounding chord. 5th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G, 6th fret of the B string, okay? Now this root motion goes to the 4th fret of the low string. So we're actually kind of walking down chromatically to where we want to end up on the G note, okay? So, and right here, sort of going to be a G7, but we're going to add a sharp 5 into it. So that G sharp 5, 3rd fret of the D string, 4th fret of the G and B, okay, very dissonant. It wants to, and then it's tough to get it down to, you need that D note, 3rd fret of the B string, to make it a G7. Okay, so. And then it's just simply back to the C minor 7 for the same thing. Gonna play the whole thing, gonna put it together. Here we go. Okay. A little bit tricky, a little bit more advanced, but pretty cool to try and get under your fingers. Just a totally different rhythm guitar approach. And of course, I think it's like the first time I've ever covered sort of a bossa nova kind of rhythm on here. So you got that dun, 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 dun. It's pretty cool, right? So yeah, some cool chords in there and some cool just overall, hopefully something that you can experiment with, something that inspires in the coming week or so. All right, let's see. Ozman, you're right. I play to a metronome and drum track all the time. It's not working to find the rhythm count for songs. Yeah, it's challenging, Ozman. So, sometimes a snare drum will give you a clue depending on the style of music, right? Because usually you've got the snare drum happening on 2 and 4. And if you can kind of work that out, then you can kind of work backwards and try to figure out what's what. Okay. And Daryl from Northern Manitoba. All right, Canada. Thanks so much for tuning in. Excellent. Rusty, thank you. I was thinking more along the lines of 4/4 timing. That was trite. Oh, there you go. Absolutely. Cool. Well, Peter, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Rusty, thanks so much. Igor, thanks so much. Danny, you too. Everybody, have a great weekend. King 50, thanks so much. Thanks to everybody for hanging out tonight. We'll see you next week. All right, Zane, sounds good. Steve, Jody 1, Nikki the dog, HH, right on. Jim Gregory, cool. I really appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week. And have a great rest of the weekend into next week. Take care. We'll see everybody. Cheers.